The wind howled through the tall pine trees and snow fell heavily over the mountain forest. Ethan sat inside his small wooden cabin, far away from cities and noise. The fire in the stone fireplace was the only warmth inside. He liked the quiet. It helped him forget the world. He had lived alone here for 3 years now. After losing his job and family, the mountains became his only home. But on this night, something strange happened. Knock. Knock. Ethan froze. No one ever came this deep, into the woods. He grabbed his axe from the wall and moved slowly to the door. Knock. Knock. But now it sounded weaker. Like someone was falling against the door. He opened it carefully. At first he thought it was a lost traveler, but when he saw her, he stepped, back in shock. It was a woman, but not human. Her skin was soft silver, glowing faintly under the snow. Her long hair shimmered like glass threads. Her clothes were torn, thin and not made from anything he had ever seen. She was shaking, eyes wide with fear. She looked up at him and whispered in a soft, strange voice, "Please, help." Then she collapsed. Ethan dropped the axe and caught her before she hit the ground. Her body was freezing cold. She was barely breathing. He brought her inside quickly and laid her near the fire. He pulled a thick blanket over her and lit more wood. Her skin began to change color slightly, warming into a soft pink as the heat returned. Her breathing steadied. She opened her eyes, slowly, and stared at him. Ethan knelt beside her. "Are you hurt?" She didn't reply. Her lips trembled. She looked confused, afraid. "It's okay," he said in a gentle voice. "You're safe now." She blinked. "Safe?" He nodded. "I won't hurt you." She looked around the small cabin. Her eyes stopped at the fire, then at the wooden walls, and finally at his face. "Human?" she asked quietly. "Yes," he said. "My name is Ethan." She touched her chest. "Sci-Fi?" He nodded again. "Sci-Fi." "Okay." She coughed a little and winced. Her hand held her side like something inside hurt. Ethan slowly helped her sit up and passed her a cup of warm water. She smelled it first, unsure, then drank. Her eyes closed and she let out a soft sound. Relief. Ethan watched her closely. Her movements were smooth but slow. Her arms had small, glowing lines under the skin. Maybe something alien, maybe technology. He wasn't sure. "Where are you from?" he asked. She didn't answer. Instead, she looked toward the window where snow was falling harder now. Then she whispered, "They hunt me." Ethan's eyes narrowed. "Who?" She shook her head. "Bad ones. From my world. I run. I hide. No want die." The fear in her voice felt real. Deep, like a hunted animal. Ethan didn't understand everything, but he knew one thing. She needed help. "Stay here," he said. "Rest. No one can find you here." She stared at him again, confused. "Why? Help me?" she asked. Ethan sighed and looked at the fire. "Because no one helped me when I needed it." Later that night, Ethan sat in his old armchair while Sci-Fi slept under the blanket on the floor. She was peaceful now, but still holding onto the edge of his coat like a child afraid of being left alone. He didn't pull away. But as he watched her sleep, he noticed something strange. Her body gave off a soft light, especially where his hands had touched her skin earlier, like something had awakened inside her. Then she opened her eyes, slowly, and looked at him. "Your touch. Warm," she whispered. "It helps." He smiled a little. "Just part of being human." But her next words made him pause. "No, not just warm. Different, important." Before he could ask what she meant, a loud howl echoed from outside in the forest. It was not a wolf. It was deeper, more alien, something not of Earth. Sci-Fi sat up suddenly, eyes wide with terror. "They found me." Ethan stood quickly and looked out the window, but the trees were thick and snow covered everything. She grabbed his arm. "If they find me, I'd die." Ethan looked at her, really looked at her. Fragile, afraid, and still glowing faintly with something strange, something beautiful. He nodded once. "Then we don't let them find you." Outside the wind screamed louder, but inside the cabin the fire burned bright, and two lives had just crossed paths in the most unexpected way. Ethan didn't sleep that night. The cabin was quiet, but something had changed. Silari slept curled, near the fireplace, her silver skin glowing faintly with each breath. Every few minutes she twitched, as if fighting something in her dreams. Sometimes she whispered in a soft alien language, too broken for Ethan to understand. He stayed by, the window holding his old rifle just in case. The howling sound from earlier still echoed in his mind. Were they animals or something else? Just before sunrise, he heard a soft movement behind him. He turned. Sayalari was awake, sitting up with the blanket still wrapped around her. Her eyes weren't glowing anymore, but full of fear and confusion. "I had nightmare," she said slowly. Ethan nodded, placing the rifle back on the wall. "Yeah, me too." She looked at the floor. "I dreamed they took me back, chained me, cut my skin, burned my voice all over again." He walked closer and sat on the floor, keeping a small distance. "I don't know what you went through," he said gently, "but you're safe here. I promise." She looked at him with soft, trembling eyes. "Humans make promises?" "Yes, and sometimes we keep them." Later that morning, Ethan made some soup from dried vegetables. It wasn't much, but it was warm. He placed a bowl in front of her. She sniffed it, unsure. Then she asked something strange. "Is it shared?" Ethan blinked. "What do you mean?" "In my world, when someone gives food and does not take payment, it means they claim you." He laughed. "Well, I'm not claiming anyone, just being kind." But Sayalari didn't laugh. She watched him carefully, like the meaning of his kindness was deeper than he understood. Then, to his surprise, she crawled closer, pulled the blanket around both of them and whispered, "I accept." He coughed awkwardly. "Wait, accept what?" She placed her hand on his. "You gave food. You gave warmth. You gave touch. In my world, these are the first steps of a soul bond." Ethan pulled back slightly. Whoa, this is moving fast, but she didn't let go. Her voice was soft. "You saved me. My body feels different now. I don't know why. But your warmth is inside me." He didn't understand, but something about her touch did feel different. His hand tingled where hers rested, not like a normal touch. It felt alive. That afternoon, Ethan tried to teach her more English. He pointed at objects and said their names. Chair, table, blanket, fire. She repeated them slowly, like tasting each word. When he pointed at himself and said, "Ethan," she smiled and replied, "Safe." He pointed at her. "Silari." She touched her chest and said, "Broken." Ethan frowned. "Why do you call yourself broken?" She hesitated. "I was born without perfect shape. My people, they see me as weak, too emotional. My skin is soft. My eyes cry too easy. They said I was not female enough." Ethan's chest tightened. "That's not true." She looked into his eyes. "But you looked at me with kindness. Not fear, not disgust, that is new to me." By nightfall, the snow had thickened outside. The wind screamed again, louder than before. Ethan placed more wood in the fireplace. Silari was curled on the floor, watching the flames dance. Suddenly, she spoke. "You touch me again. I think I will change." He paused. "What do you mean?" She looked nervous. "In my people, When we are touched by someone who makes our hearts steady, our body begins to accept them. If we touch again, the bond may finish. Finish? It becomes permanent. Forever. Ethan swallowed hard. That's serious. Yes, she whispered, but part of me wants it, even if you do not. He didn't know what to say. Her eyes were deep, her words honest. She looked down. Do not worry, I will not force. But now I glow only when you're close. Ethan stood up and walked toward the door. I need air. Outside, the snow was knee-deep. He took a few breaths of cold mountain wind, trying to calm the storm. Inside his chest, this wasn't just a rescue anymore. Something ancient was happening. Something neither of them fully understood. Suddenly he heard movement behind him. Sayalari had followed, barefoot. Hey. He rushed back and scooped her up before her feet froze. You'll catch frostbite, he said, bringing her inside. But her arms tightened around his neck. She whispered in his ear, I felt afraid when you stepped away. Back inside, she didn't let go. She looked at him with eyes that asked nothing, but meant everything. That night, Ethan didn't sleep alone. She curled beside him, not for pleasure, but for safety, for comfort, for something deeper. Outside in the black woods, eyes watched from afar. Something had found her scent. But in that cabin, two souls had taken their first true step toward something powerful, and maybe forbidden. Ethan had always believed the mountains were silent, but now every quiet moment carried meaning. Each breath Sayalari took beside him seemed louder than the wind. Each glance she gave him felt like a question with no words. It was no longer just survival. Something was growing between them. He didn't know how to name it, but he could feel it. The next morning, Ethan woke to soft humming. Not a human song. Something melodic, high and alien, like wind blowing through crystal trees. He turned and saw her sitting by the window humming softly while watching the snow. Her hands were held over her heart. Her eyes, they were wet. He walked over slowly. Is everything okay? She looked up and smiled, a sad, distant smile. That song, she whispered, was sung to children on my world, before they were taken away. Ethan paused. Taken away? Yes. If a child showed signs of softness, crying too much, kindness, fear, they were marked unfit to breed. The song was goodbye. He knelt beside her. Is that what happened to you? She nodded once. I was marked. My mother sang the song before they pulled me from her arms. Ethan felt a sting in his chest. He couldn't imagine that pain. But then she turned and touched his cheek. But now I hear no goodbye, only something new. Later, Ethan gave her one of his old jackets. It was far too big for her small frame, but she smiled and wore it like armor. She spent the afternoon helping him carry firewood, though she was still weak. When she tripped, Ethan caught her. Their eyes locked. That moment lasted longer than it should have. She didn't move away. Neither did he. Her fingers slowly reached for his and their hands met, warm, soft, connected. Suddenly, her skin shimmered. Light flowed from her palm to his hand like liquid silk. Her breathing quickened. She stumbled back, covering her mouth. What? What was that? Ethan asked, stunned. She looked terrified. I didn't mean to start the bond. It's too soon. Ethan stepped forward. What bond? Sayalari took a shaky breath. When a Vayari female finds a male her body trusts, it begins. First warmth, then light, then forever. Ethan stared. And that was the second? She nodded. Third is choice. That night she couldn't sleep. Neither could Ethan. He gave her a pillow and let her lie on the bed while he took the chair. But after a long silence, she spoke softly into the dark. Ethan, I feel something I do not know. He turned his head. What do you feel? When you look at me, I feel full. My chest warms, my skin shines, my heart beats too fast. Is that what you call love? Ethan didn't answer right away. He sat up slowly. I don't know, but I feel it too. Sailari moved over and made space beside her. You don't have to be afraid, she said, her voice shaking. The third step, it can wait. Ethan climbed into the bed beside her. Slowly, gently. They didn't touch. Just lay there side by side, breathing. The silence wasn't empty. It was alive. The next morning, something strange happened. Sailari screamed. Ethan jumped from the bed to find her staring at her shoulder. A glowing mark had appeared, spiraling and golden, right where Ethan had held her hand the day before. She looked at him, horrified. This is the sign of final bonding. But we didn't. Ethan stopped. We didn't do anything last night. No, she said, but our feelings did. That's enough. He sat beside her, unsure what to say. I didn't want to trap you, she whispered. This mark means I belong to you now, in body, in spirit, even if you don't want it. Ethan stared at the mark, glowing softly like a living tattoo. I'm not trapped, he said finally. She looked at him. He took a deep breath. I don't understand all of this, but I know you're not just some alien woman hiding in my hut. You're brave, you're kind, and you didn't choose this bond alone. I felt it too. Her eyes watered again, but this time they were tears of something else. Hope. But hope was short-lived. That evening, while chopping firewood, Ethan heard a clicking sound in the forest. He turned and saw something tall, thin, and dark, watching him from behind the trees. It vanished in a blink. He dropped the axe and ran back to the cabin. Sailari, he said, breathless, we're not alone. She froze. They found me. Her hand clutched her glowing mark. They will see this. They will kill you. Just for touching me. Ethan stared at the forest. Then he looked at her. No, he said. They'll have to go through me first. Ethan locked the cabin door. Not that it would help much against what he saw outside, but it made him feel like he had some control. Sailari sat near the fire, her knees pulled close to her chest. The glow from the mark on her shoulder was brighter now, pulsing softly like a heartbeat. She was shaking, not from cold, but fear. Tell me what's coming, Ethan said, keeping his voice calm. She didn't answer right away. Her eyes stared into the flames. Then she spoke. They are called the Voxen Trackers. They hunt Vayari like me. Those who run, those who bond with outsiders. Ethan frowned. Outsiders like me? She nodded. To them, I've broken the law of purity. My bond mark. It means I belong to another species now. That is forbidden. He walked over and knelt in front of her. You didn't do anything wrong. You just survived. She looked up. Her eyes were glassy. I did more than survive. I chose you. The silence between them grew heavy. Outside, snow fell quietly again, but the trees no longer felt peaceful. They felt like eyes. Suddenly, Sailari stood up and removed Ethan's old jacket from her shoulders. Beneath it, her glowing skin pulsed like soft embers. I need to show you something, she said. She stepped back and took a deep breath. Then her entire body changed. Her back arched slightly. Glowing lines appeared along her arms, like ancient runes. Her pupils became thin slits, her voice deeper, more primal. Ethan stepped back. Sailari. She turned to him. Her voice was layered now, two tones, one gentle, one wild. When a Vayari completes bonding, our instincts awaken. We are no longer just female, we are guardian, protector of the one we bonded with. He stared, unsure whether to fear or be amazed. I thought bonding would make me weak, she continued. But now, I feel stronger, because I'm yours, and I will not let them hurt you. Ethan swallowed. You're glowing like a star. Are you okay? She smiled softly. More than okay, I finally feel whole. But the moment was short-lived. A red beam of light flickered through the window. Selari turned sharply. They are here. Ethan grabbed his rifle. Stay inside. She shook her head. No. If they sense fear, they attack. I have to face them. But they must not see you. Like hell I'm hiding, Ethan said. She walked toward him and placed her hand over his heart. You don't understand. If they see the bond mark on me glowing near you, they will know. They'll burn the whole forest to erase our existence. He clenched his jaw. So what do we do? Her expression softened. We trick them. You stay silent. I act as if I am alone, sick, dying. It will confuse them. And if that fails? Ethan asked. She whispered. Then I show them what awakened instincts look like. Moments later, Selari stood outside in the snow. Her bare feet didn't sink. Her glow lit up the area around her. 3 dark figures stepped out from the trees. They were tall, armor-plated, with insect-like heads and thin, shining weapons in their claws. They didn't speak. They just scanned her with cold, green lights. One raised a translator device. Vyari fugitive. You carry foreign bond signature. This is violation. Selari breathed steadily. My ship crashed. I bonded to survive. I feel no threat. Leave now. They hissed. Where is the human? I am alone, she said. Ethan, watching from behind the half-open door, clenched his fists. One of the trackers moved forward. We scan heartbeat. Another life. Lies. Selari raised her voice. He is not yours to judge. Then her skin flared. Blinding gold light exploded from her body. The snow turned to steam around her. The closest tracker fell back, screaming. The Yao. Others aimed their weapons. Ethan couldn't take it anymore. He ran out with the rifle and shouted, Leave her alone. The moment he did, the glowing mark on Selari's shoulder flashed brighter, exposing the final bond. One of the trackers growled, Confirmed. Full mating mark. He raised his weapon to fire, but before the blast could leave the barrel, Selari moved like lightning. She was suddenly in front of Ethan, arms spread, absorbing the hit. A wave of energy exploded from her back, blasting the tracker into the trees. She collapsed to her knees. Ethan caught her, heart racing. No, stay with me. She touched his cheek and smiled. My instincts awakened, because I wanted to protect you. Her voice faded, but then, her mark flared again, not with pain, but healing. The snow around her melted, her skin repaired itself. She rose slowly, her body glowing stronger than ever. The last 2 trackers backed away. One whispered, She's not like the others. And just like that, they disappeared into the woods. Ethan sat down, heart pounding. Selari stood over him, hand on his shoulder. I don't know what just happened, he said. She smiled gently. You gave me something. No one ever did. A reason to live. And now, something deeper than survival had begun, a bond of instinct. And maybe, something close to love. The forest did not rest after the battle. Snow lay still on the surface, but beneath the trees, something evil moved. The 2 surviving Voxen trackers had not left. They had only stepped back to plan. They had seen the bond, seen the flare of instinct, and now, they wanted both of them. Ethan didn't sleep. He sat by the fire, cleaning the barrel of his old rifle. His hands were steady, but his heart was storming. Selari sat beside the fire, her legs folded. Under her, her body had returned to normal, but the golden mark still glowed on her shoulder. It was dimmer now, softer, like a heartbeat resting. I can still feel them, she whispered. They're close, closer than before. Ethan nodded. I know. I can feel it too, like the forest is holding its breath. She looked at him, her eyes serious. They won't stop, not until I'm dead. Or you are. There was a long silence between them. Then Ethan stood up and reached for the thick, dusty trunk under his bed. What are you doing? She asked. Getting ready, he said. I didn't want to open this box again, but now I have no choice. Inside the trunk were things Ethan hadn't touched in years. Military gear from his old life, a pistol, armor vest, smoke flares, a combat knife. He stared at it all for a long moment. I thought I left this life behind, he muttered. Turns out, it followed me. Sailari walked up behind him and gently touched his shoulder. You don't have to fight for me. He looked at her. But I will. By evening, Ethan had sealed the cabin windows with metal sheets. He stacked firewood and supplies in one corner and placed traps around the outside. Sailari, still learning earth weapons, helped however she could. But she moved differently now, not weak, not broken. She was alert, calm, like something ancient inside her had awakened for good. As the sun disappeared behind the icy hills, the forest grew dark, and the sounds began. Clicks, static, metallic, whispers. Then, a red laser dot appeared through the window. Ethan didn't speak. He simply aimed his rifle. Suddenly, something crashed into the back wall. The cabin shook. They're here, Sailari shouted. Ethan ran to the door and pulled her behind him. But the moment he opened it, smoke filled the air, bright blue, sizzling. He choked, grabbing Sailari's hand. Get to the back. They stumbled through the side hallway, but a tracker crashed through the roof, its glowing weapon aimed right at them. It snarled in broken English. You. Bonded. Female. Unclean. Before Ethan could fire, Sailari stepped forward, standing. Between him and the tracker, she whispered one word in her alien tongue, and her mark burst into golden flames. The tracker flinched, then she charged. Ethan had never seen anyone move like that. Sailari leapt, dodged, spun. She fought with no weapons, just hands and light. The tracker's claws slashed at her, but her body danced like flame. He couldn't just watch. Ethan raised his rifle and shot the tracker in the side. The bullet sparked, but didn't kill. Sailari landed on its back and pressed her glowing hand against its head. The light burned. The creature screeched and fell unmoving. She fell to her knees, breathing hard. Ethan rushed to her. Are you okay? She looked up, her voice raw. One more. I sense it. The remaining tracker did not come through the door. It used something smarter. From the forest came a sound, a voice. Ethan. He froze. That was his mother's voice. But she had been dead for 5 years. Sailari's eyes widened. It's using a sound trap. It reads your memories. He stepped toward the trees, heart racing. Ethan, help me. I'm cold, the voice cried again. He clenched his fists. That's not her. Then, in the clearing, he saw the last tracker. It was taller than the others. Its face looked like metal glass. It projected images in the snow, images from Ethan's past, his mother, his childhood dog, his old girlfriend. It spoke through them all. You protect the unclean. You protect the weak. Why? Join us. Be stronger. Ethan raised his rifle. You don't know strength. Not real strength. Behind him, Sailari walked into the snow, her bare feet glowing softly. She stood beside him. Real strength, she said, is choosing someone, even when the world says no. Together they walked toward the tracker. It raised its weapon, but before it could fire, Ethan shot out its light eye, and Sailari threw a burning mark that exploded against its chest. The creature let out a sharp cry and vanished in a flash of blue light. The forest was quiet again, too quiet. Ethan stood still, breathing hard. Sailari leaned into him. We survived. He looked down at her and for the first time allowed himself to smile. Yeah, he said. We did. But deep in the forest, something else had seen everything, something bigger, and it had decided, this bond, was dangerous. The night after the battle was not silent. The snow had stopped falling and stars filled the sky like glowing dust. But Ethan couldn't sleep, not with the question burning in his chest. Sci sat outside the cabin, alone on the icy porch, staring at the moon. Her silver hair danced in the wind and her glowing bond mark was faint now, almost flickering. Ethan stepped out quietly and placed a blanket over her shoulders. She didn't turn. She just whispered, "The stars look like home, but they are not." He sat beside her. "You miss your world?" She nodded. "Sometimes, but not the people, not the rules, just the sky." He glanced at her mark. "It's dim. Is that normal?" She took a deep breath. "It's because I'm holding back. If I let it burn fully, our bond will be sealed forever. No return, no undoing." Ethan's heart pounded. "So you're saying we still have a choice?" She looked at him for the first time, her eyes glowing slightly. "Yes. One final choice." Inside the cabin, she explained everything. "If I complete the bond, I will never be able to connect with another of my kind. I will not just be an outsider, I will be a traitor by blood." Ethan leaned forward. "But if you don't, my body will start to reject the bond. It will weaken. Eventually I'll vanish." He stared at her. "So this is about survival?" She shook her head. "No. This is about love. If I complete the bond, it means I choose you not just to live, but to become my purpose. My other half. Forever." Ethan swallowed hard. "That's a lot." Sci smiled gently. "Yes. It is everything." She stood and walked over to him, reaching for his hand. "When I first fell into your cabin, I was a fugitive. I had no name, no future, just fear." He squeezed her hand gently. "And now," she whispered, "now I am something more. But only if you want me to be." Ethan looked deep into her eyes. He had been alone for so long, forgotten by the world. Now here was a woman. Not human, not safe, but real. Brave, soft, alive. And somehow, she had chosen him. "I want you to choose without fear," Sci said softly. "Because if we seal the bond tonight, the stars will never call me home again." Ethan stood in silence. Then he took her hand and led her outside, to the edge of the forest. "The first night I found you," he said, "you were dying, cold, silent. I saved you because I couldn't leave someone behind." She nodded. "And I let you touch me, even though I was afraid." He stepped closer, lifting her hand to his chest. "But now, I'm not saving you. I'm choosing you." Her eyes widened, and the bond mark on her shoulder flared like a golden fire. She gasped. "Ethan, are you sure?" He smiled. "Yes. I've never been more sure." She reached forward, her forehead gently pressing against his. The moment they touched, the light from both their bodies joined. The golden glow pulsed between them, wrapping them in warmth. Sci let out a soft cry, not of pain, but relief. The final bond was complete. For a moment, the whole mountain felt like it held its breath. Even the trees seemed to lean in. Ethan wrapped his arms around her. She felt lighter, glowing with a soft power he couldn't explain. "I feel you," she whispered. "In my blood, in my mind, in my soul." Ethan touched her cheek. "Then we face whatever comes next. Together." But deep in the forest, something stirred. A creature much larger than the trackers. Watching. Waiting. The bond had not gone unnoticed, and for Sci kind, a completed bond with a human wasn't just forbidden. It was war. The mountain was too quiet. The wind had stopped. The snow didn't fall. Even the trees didn't move. It was the kind of silence that came before something terrible. Ethan stood outside the cabin, rifle in hand, staring into the black woods. Behind him, Sci stood still, her golden mark glowing like a slow-burning flame. "It's not over, is it?" Ethan asked without looking back. "No," she replied. "The Voxen Council is coming. Not hunters this time. Not trackers. But a judgment beast." Ethan turned. "Judgment beast?" She nodded, eyes serious. "They send it when someone breaks the highest law. Bonding with an outsider is the highest offense. It comes to erase both bloodlines. You, me, our bond. Forever." Ethan laughed softly. Dry. Tired. "Guess they don't believe in second chances." "No," she whispered. "But we do. They didn't run. They had nowhere to go." Instead, Ethan and Sci spent the night preparing. He set up traps, dug hiding spots, sharpened blades. She walked the perimeter barefoot, drawing glowing lines in the snow with her fingers, ancient alien runes made from memory. Each rune pulsed, connecting her energy with the earth. "This land accepts me now," she said. "Because you accepted me." He looked at her with quiet awe. "You've changed." She shook her head. "No, you just finally saw what was always hidden." Just before sunrise, the beast came. Not with fire, not with sound, but with silence. A shadow moved between the trees, taller than the tallest tree, shaped like a massive panther made of stone and smoke. Its eyes glowed red. Its breath turned snow to ash. Sci stood tall, glowing gold. Ethan stood beside her, rifle aimed but hands steady. The beast growled, a low rumbling sound that shook the trees. Then a deep voice echoed from it. "Very female, human male. You chose against the order." Ethan stepped forward. "She didn't choose against life. She chose me. That's not a crime." "Bond is forbidden," the voice hissed. "Your flame must be snuffed, your memory erased." Sci held Ethan's hand. "No," she said. "We are bonded by choice. Not fear, not law, heart." The beast's eyes narrowed, then died together. The ground cracked. The trees split. The judgment beast roared and charged, leaving fire behind its footsteps. Ethan fired, bullets sparking off its armored face. The beast barely noticed. Sci raised her hands and whispered something in her alien tongue. The runes in the snow lit up like lightning. Golden energy rushed up, creating a shield in front of them. The beast slammed into it, roaring in pain, but the shield cracked. Ethan held her waist. "We can't hold this forever." "No," she whispered. "But we can give everything." Then she turned. She looked at him one last time, tears in her glowing eyes. "I have one last bond left. The soul flare. What's that?" "A final release of energy. It will destroy the beast, but it will take me with it." Ethan's heart dropped. "No, I won't lose you." "You won't," she said gently. "Not if you trust me." She placed her forehead against his. Her glow passed into him, a spark, a gift. "Even if my body fades," she said, "my light will live in you, always." Then she stepped forward, alone, toward the beast. Ethan screamed, "Sci, no!" She lifted her arms. Her entire body turned to gold. The runes ignited. The air shook. The soul flare exploded from her chest, shooting into the beast like a beam of burning light. The creature shrieked, thrashing, melting, cracking into pieces of ash and crystal. And then, everything went silent. Only gold dust floated in the air, and Sci was gone. Ethan fell to his knees. The snow around him was warm, glowing softly. He touched the spot where she stood, just ash and her blanket. But then, he heard her voice. Inside, his chest. "I am not gone. I am part of you now. I am home." His eyes filled with tears, but he smiled. She was right. She was everywhere, in the wind, in the stars, in him. Years later. The cabin stood strong, but now it had 2 marks carved above the door. One human, one Vayari. People came and went. aliens and humans, hiding, hoping, starting again. Ethan welcomed them all, because he knew. Love was not about species or law. It was about choice, and he chose her. Forever.